A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant diplomatic overture, President Donald Trump has announced his intention to engage in discussions with Russian President Vladimir Putin regarding the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. This revelation came during a flight back to Washington from Florida, as Trump addressed reporters on board Air Force One. The president expressed a renewed optimism about the potential for a resolution to the war, which has been raging for over 3 years. Trump stated, "I'll be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday. A lot of work's been done over the weekend." This statement follows constructive discussions between U.S. and Russian officials in Moscow, marking a potential turning point in the turbulent relationship between the two nations. Trump is seeking Putin's endorsement for a proposed 30-day ceasefire, a plan that has reportedly been accepted by Ukraine. However, the backdrop of this diplomatic effort is a concerning escalation of hostilities, with heavy aerial attacks reported over the weekend and Russia making advances in the western Russian region of Kursk. The Kremlin has yet to respond to inquiries regarding this latest development. On Friday, they communicated that Putin had conveyed a message about the ceasefire plan through U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff, who had been in talks in Moscow. The Kremlin expressed cautious optimism that a resolution could be reached. Despite this hopeful tone, officials on both sides acknowledge that significant hurdles remain before a ceasefire can be agreed upon. In various Sunday television appearances, Witkoff, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Trump's national security advisor, Mike Waltz, highlighted the complexities involved in reaching a ceasefire, let alone a lasting peace agreement. When asked whether the U.S. would accept a peace deal that allowed Russia to retain control over parts of eastern Ukraine, Waltz emphasized the need for negotiations to be grounded in reality, stating, "Are we going to drive every Russian off of every inch of Ukrainian soil?" Rubio added that any final peace deal would require substantial concessions from both Russia and Ukraine, and that it would be challenging to initiate those negotiations while active combat persists. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed optimism on Friday regarding the potential to end the conflict, following Kyiv's acceptance of the U.S. proposal for a 30-day interim ceasefire. However, he firmly reiterated that Ukraine's sovereignty is non-negotiable and that Russia must relinquish the territories it has occupied. Since the 2014 annexation of Crimea and the subsequent invasion in 2022, Russia has maintained control over significant portions of eastern Ukraine. The Russian government, on the other hand, is demanding ironclad guarantees in any peace deal, including assurances that NATO will not accept Ukraine as a member and that Ukraine will maintain a neutral status. Deputy Foreign Minister Alexander Grushko articulated Moscow's stance in an interview with Izvestia, emphasizing that any long-lasting peace treaty must align with Russia's demands. "We will demand that ironclad security guarantees become part of this agreement," Grushko stated, underscoring Russia's insistence on maintaining control over the territories it has seized. Trump's approach marks a notable shift in U.S. foreign policy, as he has previously characterized Ukraine as a more challenging partner than Russia. This diplomatic initiative comes on the heels of a controversial meeting between Trump and Zelensky last month, which ended with the Ukrainian leader leaving the White House prematurely. The acceptance of a ceasefire proposal by Ukraine now places pressure on Russia to respond positively to Trump's overtures, testing the U.S. president's more favorable view of Putin. Meanwhile, Ukraine's European allies have voiced that any ceasefire and subsequent peace agreement must involve Ukraine in the negotiations. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer indicated that Western allies, apart from the U.S., are preparing to support Ukraine should a ceasefire be established with Russia. This includes defense chiefs working on robust plans to assist Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire. Furthermore, both Britain and France have expressed their willingness to deploy peacekeeping forces to oversee any ceasefire in Ukraine, although Russia has firmly rejected the idea of peacekeepers until the conflict has concluded. Grushko reiterated Russia's opposition, stating that any NATO presence in Ukraine would be viewed as a party to the conflict. French President Emmanuel Macron remarked that the decision on peacekeeping troops should be made by Kyiv, not Moscow. As the world watches closely, the upcoming conversation between Trump and Putin could be pivotal in shaping the future of the Ukraine conflict. The stakes are high, and the international community remains hopeful yet cautious about the prospects for peace. With tensions still simmering and both sides preparing for potential escalations, the outcome of these discussions will be crucial in determining the path forward for Ukraine and its relationship with Russia. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.